Hi, my name is Leah, and I am a TOEFL tutor and review instructor here with TOEFL. Thank you for visiting our YouTube series. If you're not familiar with what we do, each week we select a submission from our forum to review here on YouTube. So if this sounds like something you're interested in doing, stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'm going to let you know exactly how you can participate. This week, I want to review a writing submission. We had a lot of really strong submissions this week, so thank you to all of the students that participated. Very well done. Let's take a look at our question this week. The question is, do you prefer to take classes in the evening or in the morning, and why? And of course, use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. Now, we have all kinds of different videos here on YouTube that offer different points of feedback for essays on the writing section. And a lot of times we do focus on content. But today, in my review, I would like to focus on something a little bit different, and that is mechanics. So what is mechanics? Mechanics consists of spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. And while it might not seem like a big deal, this is actually a key component to getting a good score on the TOEFL writing section. So take a look at this essay submission. Now again, I'm not focusing on content, so I just want you to scan this submission and see if you can spot any errors in mechanics. So how did you do? I'd like to point out all of the changes that need to be made to the mechanics of this essay, and those are all in red. So let's take a look at this mechanics checklist that I've provided, and I want to give you some examples from this particular essay, again, about how we can really improve the mechanics, ultimately to improve this student's writing score. Now, the first point on our checklist is that the first letter of every new sentence in English should be capitalized. So take a look at the O in others. This should be a capital, not a lowercase o. Now, since I'm talking about capitalization, I also want to touch on proper nouns versus common nouns. So proper nouns, that's something like a name or a title. Now, this student references university, but she's not talking about a specific university. She isn't mentioning the name of the university. Therefore, this is not a proper noun. So we don't want to capitalize the U in university. If you were talking about a specific university, such as New York University, then you would capitalize the N in new, the Y in York, and the U in university. But when used as a common noun, university should not be capitalized. Now, let's take a look at AM. You've probably seen AM and PM written a lot of different ways. I would recommend that you write A period M period or P period M period and use only lowercase letters. You never want to capitalize either the A, M, or the P or M, such as this student did here with 8 a.m. Now you may have seen it written before just AM, no periods, and that's fine too. Okay, either style is okay. Just make sure that you're consistent in your essay if you mention times more than once. So that's something else to be aware of in terms of capitalization. Now let's take a look at the word I. This student fluctuates between capitalizing I and not capitalizing I. When used as a word, I as in me, you always want to capitalize the letter I. And that's true for contractions as well. So if you write I'll, for example, I will, you'll still capitalize the I. The same rule does not apply to other contractions or all contractions. So if you write he's, for example, he is, you don't capitalize the H in he. This is only true for the word I. So you'll want to work back through your essay and make sure that I is consistently capitalized. Now, something else that we want to talk about with mechanics is spacing and punctuation. So first of all, we want one space between every word and sentence in English. So if you take a look, this student wrote morning because, and there's no space between these words. So you always want to make sure that there is one space. Only one space. If you take a look at this sentence that begins one, and then the next sentence begins I, this is actually two spaces here. So we'll just want to backspace once, so there's only one space between these two sentences. Now it's only between words and sentences. We don't want to put any spaces between words and the subsequent punctuation. So if you take a look here with evening, the student wrote evening space period. So what we want to do is back the period up and put no space between evening and period. And as you can see from looking at this essay, this happens quite a bit. So here where you see the word works space, period, and then no space between the following sentence. So it just appears that this student wasn't quite sure what the rule is and is just experimenting with different methods. But it's really important that you understand the basic mechanics of writing sentences in English. So it isn't just a matter of being consistent. You always want to follow these particular rules. Now, the other thing I want to point out is spelling. Spelling is really important as it affects your mechanics score as well. Now, I mentioned the word university. Did you notice that this word is also spelled incorrectly? Maybe not. University, U-N-I-V-E-R-S-I-T-Y. The only other word that is misspelled in this essay is believe. Believe, B-E-L-I-E-V-E. If you weren't already familiar with how to spell either of those words, write down the correct spellings that I just gave you. So it's very important that you have a strong understanding of spelling. So remember that the TOEFL graders are never going to make assumptions about what you're trying to say. So if you've misspelled a word, that could end up affecting your clarity score as well as your mechanics score. But this student's done all right. Those are the only two misspelled words in this essay. Now, something else that I want to talk about, I'm not going to get into the details of using commas today, but there's a couple of other areas where we want to make sure that we are inserting punctuation. First is, there is a saying, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, this student is putting in this saying, and in doing so is introducing a quote. So it is not this student's own language. So when you introduce quotes in your writing, you want to make sure that you separate those with quotation marks. So what we'll want to do is say there is a saying, comma, and again, no space between the word saying and the comma, quote, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, period, end quote. Don't put the quote inside the period. Now this man is three things, healthy, wealthy, and wise. So the only other thing I'm going to say about commas today is that when we have lists with three or more things, we want to separate those words with commas, including putting a comma before and. So you would say healthy, comma, wealthy, comma, and wise. All right, students, my video today was short and sweet, but I hope you've learned a few things about mechanics. Again, this will really help increase your score on the writing section, having a strong understanding of the fundamentals of English writing. I have the checklist here on the screen. I would encourage you to write this down in your notebooks to memorize these rules and keep them in mind in the future. Remember that we do recommend that you spend a couple of minutes at the end of the 30-minute period for writing task 2, reviewing your essay, looking for any changes that need to be made to grammar, punctuation, capitalization, spacing. So keep this checklist in your minds so that during that 2-minute period, you can scan your essays and look for any inaccuracies and make those changes. All right, so now as I said, I'm going to let you know exactly how you can participate in a YouTube video in the future. All right, this was an excellent submission. So I'd like to thank this student and all the students that participated this week. Thanks for sending in your great work. If you're interested in participating in the future, there's a link below this video that will direct you to our forum. Each week on our forum, we post a speaking and writing question, and then we choose one question to review here on YouTube. We only ask that you work on your question responses under actual TOEFL conditions, and then you can post those to our forum. As I said, we'll choose one on Wednesday, and we'll review it. So if you have any questions, as usual, please visit noteful.com, send us an email, let us know. We're always happy to help. Otherwise, keep up the great work. Good luck with your studies this week, and we'll see you next week.